it demands that of us. If we as business owners want to transform people's lives through the things that we sell and make the impacts, there is a demand on us, and we are challenged to really call up those things that maybe we've been telling ourselves, well, I can't do that for whatever reason, or I don't do that. If the goal is the goal, and we want to achieve the goal, then that's where the strategy comes in. What is the method that we're going to implement to get to the goal? Because the goal still matters.
What is your content strategy for your small business? Guest Moniek James, owner of the Renegade Creative Media Group, shares fresh content marketing strategies that build awareness for your emerging or growing business, establish you as a trusted resource, and position your products for sale. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat today with Moniek James. We're so excited to have you here joining us.
I know. And I always say like my favorite part is like when they get to like join us like in the green room before, and just like we had said, I was like, I've been seeing Moniek all over everywhere for probably a year and a half now, and I've never had the pleasure to get to like in real time talk to her. And so I'm like so excited. Like, anyway, just a conversation with her, I think is going to be fantastic. And just the fact that we got to say hi, and she says hi back. Like, it's not in Slack, it's not in an email. It is legit, like voice to voice, and face to face.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, we've been circling the same waters for so long. It is kind of fun. I feel like I know her so well, and now we get to have her on the show, and it's like an old friend coming on. But
yes, and you're like, hi, first time meeting in real time, but hey, Anna, what is our call to action today? I want to just kind of like let's get this, because I think everybody needs to like hear from Moniek and all the wonderful things that she's going to share today.
So, of course, we're talking about content strategy today, right? So our call to action is, what is your content strategy for your small business? Do you even have one? Are you strategizing, or are you just kind of day by day winging it? And not really like stopping to think about what the bigger purpose and where all the little pieces kind of fit in with each other. So I'd love to hear from anyone that's listening today. Like, do you have a content strategy for your small business? And if you even want to drop in kind of like what your technique is, like, I'm a huge planner. I do it month by month, and or whatever's hot in the moment, or when I find the time, something goes up. Otherwise, it just doesn't happen. So,
and like you might even be saying like, what is content strategy? And that's why we have Moniek on, because she's going to talk about it. She's going to tell you what that is and all the things. So I am going to, let's bring up her bio. And let's talk about it. So Moniek James, she is the owner and master content strategist of Renegade Creative Media Group. And Moniek James, she is a veteran military spouse, speaker, author, online entrepreneur, and founder of Renegade Creative Media Group. Her passion is teaching business owners and brands how to leverage content marketing to deliver their genius to the world. Moniek has been trusted and hired by organizations and associations like the American Commerce Authority, Small Business Development Center, SCORE, big deal, Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs, and the American Business Women's Association to train small business owners and entrepreneurs on establishing and expanding their digital footprints. Whew, right? This is like the queen of like helping others out to making sure that they do what they need so they can make their business successful. So
absolutely.
I will pop that down, and let's just bring Moniek in, everybody.
All right, here she comes.
Hi.
Hey. So you don't even know how I was like in my seat, like, can we get to the
conversation? I know. This is amazing. Yes. Thank you for joining us today. Anna and I are so excited, and we'll just get into the conversation. So, well, not conversations. First of all, we need to do our traditional coffee cup selfie with you, Moniek. It could be a water. It could be any cup in front of you. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Tea. I like that. Okay. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, we're gonna shuffle some faces around here. You're gonna see Monique this, and Anna is gonna let's get into the first question.
Yeah. Okay. So we didn't really ask the question, what is content strategy? We're going to just make an assumption that people know what content is, right? Like anything that's going up about your business that's bringing awareness and understanding to it. So our very first question for you today, Monique, is what type of content builds awareness for a small business?
Okay. So, like, it's going to be a whole thing when the person says, okay. So I think with that question, the question needs to be dissected in order to get to the answer. Okay. So I think when we talk about type, there are two ways of interpreting type. So for me, being on the inside of the jar and looking at it from the content strategy perspective, when I hear the word type, it usually means either the message, meaning what should I say in the content to build awareness, but it could also mean the medium, meaning what type, I was going to use the same word to define word, what kind of content to build awareness. So I think, there's two ways of answering that question. So when you talk about the message, meaning what do you say in the thing, I think a good approach to that is to answer the what questions. When you're thinking about the thing that you sell, the thing that you're wanting people to say yes to, what are the questions that they're asking that start with what? Like, what is that? What does it do? And also, what does it mean for me? Those are the questions that the people in the audience are asking silently, internally. And when your content answers those questions, it gets them closer to the yes, right? So that's the message piece. And then when we talk about the medium, as far as a type, I think my answer to this question used to be, it depends on the channel, and it technically still does. But generally, the top channels that we're using to publish right now, as far as social is concerned, all have a video component, and video is the thing. I think the last statistic I saw said that by 2023, it's expected to be 3.5 billion with a B internet users consuming video.
Wow.
So if we know that the people are already consuming it, if that's their preference, and we want to build awareness, then it makes sense that we meet them at the point of their preference, meaning video. Even if you like to write, you can still, incorporate video in really interesting ways. I also think like a sub answer to video is probably short form video as a type. The TikTokification of the digital space really has kind of forced us to, you have to be able to share an idea in 15 seconds. So I think message, answering the what, medium, video, and then if you really gangster, short form video, because that just feeds, people just scrolling and watching and scrolling and watching. And we just meet people where they are.
Yeah. That, okay, this goes kind of even back to something we were all talking about as far as like a pond, right? It's like us fishing at the wrong pond. Like old school Instagram, when it was just static images, we're still over there going, why is nobody biting on my content? Because everybody is like, all the fish is in a whole nother like pond.
Exactly.
And there's those stubborn ones, right? That just are like insisting, like, no, somebody will bite my 1 million static images that I'm going to start posting. Versus, like,
that doesn't feel good.
Right.
That doesn't feel good to I know ego tells us we're right, and we're the leader and we know the answer, and they just have to do because we said so. Ego will tell us that. But when we think about, like you just said, Selena, to be the person who's indignant about doing things the way that they've always done them, and then deal with the letdown of not getting the results that they want, that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So tell ego to shut up and just,
Yes.
change the thing,
Yeah.
try something new, and then see if you start to get those types of results, and then, build on those good feelings. Let those endorphins, kind of stack up and be like, oh, this is working. I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, like, your video could just have 95 views to a one like content image thing, right? And that totally, yes. Like Monique said, like, just tell the ego to shut up and move on. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So I do have kind of a little bit of a follow-up question. Like, a lot of times people are very uncomfortable on video, right? Like that's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So is there any strategy you could suggest for people that are uncomfortable being that front and center face that they can use with their video content that would be kind of a workaround for them having to constantly be in the spotlight?
I think so. A simpler workaround for this is to not be on camera. Like, if you're a maker, show your hands making the thing, or use some abstract video with your words over it. Those are the types of things, especially, again, now we think about the universe of TikTok and Reels. We see people getting really creative with continuing to share content without it being their face. So that's one thing. I would also challenge the people who are uncomfortable with it, especially if at the point of the conversion, when the person says yes to buy the thing, if they will work with you, if you will have some type of interaction or engagement with them, then it is of a strategic advantage to be on camera so that those people get an idea of what they can expect working with you. So then it kind of becomes like, okay, like, am I going to continue to let the stories I'm telling myself about myself stop my money? Or am I going to get a little bit uncomfortable because I want people who work with me to know what they're going to get? I want them to hear my voice. I want them to see all of my hand movements. I want them to get comfortable enough to say yes to me and already have a preview of what that experience is going to be like. And that's going to require me to get in front of the camera so that they can start to decide if I'm the person for them or not.
So the one sentence that really stuck out from what you just said is, I want them to feel comfortable enough with me to say yes to me. And that really is kind of what that's all about, right? Like, I know this conversation isn't supposed to be about video, but since we got stuck a little bit on video, I just it feels like video is a great way to make people understand kind of who you are, all your little quirks and weirdnesses, and your bad hair day or your not bad hair day, or your hands and the way you do things and gestures, right? Like all of those little bits and pieces, because authenticity in our content strategy is so important, right? Like being able to build that connection. It didn't used to be that way. It didn't, like 20 years ago when I started marketing 20 years ago, that is not what we did. We were authority figures. We told people what to do. We said it. This is it. And that's all you get.
And period. It was very curated, right? It was very polished, and there was no messy life introduced to how to that's true. And I do want to add this. I kind of feel like, right, what you're saying too is like, it's not about us, it's about our user. It's so and that's what we have to remember, right? Oh gosh, good stuff, you guys. So
I know. I feel like this ticker I'm throwing up, this is my sound bite for today right now. Like that just really impacted me when I was thinking about it. I'm like, that is why, and that really comes back to the question, right? What type of content will build awareness for your small business? That was our original question. And if it's content that's going to let your client feel comfortable with you and want to say yes to you, then it's the right content.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah. You've landed at the right pond. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
What a great start to our show,
I
Monique.
know. I'm like
Well
invigorated. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to throw out our second question. We talked a little bit about being a trusted advisor. This is one of your hot points. So, how do you grow and maintain your trusted resource status with your clients or with new clients?
I do this. My approach to this is living what I call myself. Um, I think we kind of touched on this just a few minutes ago. We back in the day, we could create and produce the marketing that we put out, and that was enough to get people to say yes to us. Well, the proliferation of the internet and the ease of creating online businesses these days means that there are so many more people in the ponds, in the sandboxes that we are in. That means the customers have so much choice.
Yeah.
Not just choosing between us and other people of integrity who do what we do, but also choosing between us and the scammers. So it's so easy. So when you are living what you call yourself, one, you're allowing your audience to see that there is a real person behind this logo, behind, these social media posts. This person actually lives this thing, studies it, maybe goes to conferences, maybe also has bad days, talks about what they're learning, shares what's going on with their team. They're living it. You every day we get up, whether I put on real clothes today or not, I'm still a content strategist who owns a content marketing business. So there are probably aspects of my day that I can leverage to show my audience that I can relate to them, that I understand them, that I know their struggles because I walk through those struggles. And so getting to that trusted, because trust is it's so valuable. It's priceless in this internet space that we operate in. Getting there and staying there it demands us as leaders. It demands our transparency to a certain level, share what you're comfortable sharing, but also vulnerability and letting our audiences know, again, you can trust me with your transformation. One, because I'm a real person. I pay attention. I invest in myself so that I can better help you. I've walked the journey that you're on, or even if I didn't walk it, I understand it well enough to be able to help you get to where you're trying to go. All of those things help to solidify that trusted resource. And it's more content. Like the unintended benefit is you're not creating so much, you're documenting. So you don't have to, I have to do all of these things. Like, you just document it because you're living it anyway. So I think that's the key.
That's such a smart way of looking at it.
Can I tell you, I loved that you just said that. I remember having a conversation with a friend that was like, this is just, I don't want to keep creating content to be able to promote this. And we discussed, like, document the life of that journey to get to the end goal. And everybody's invested, you know what I mean? Like you just said, documenting versus needing to create. I mean, pop that phone up, right? In your workshop or
Exactly.
at your desk or in the car because you're delivering stuff. And then you have content that is now sitting in your library being waited to use.
Yeah.
And because you know your stuff so well, you can turn anything.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about, as creatives and those of us who are the experts, if we're the experts, we can take any story and turn it into something that our audiences and our intended customers can relate to and buy in more. Give us another yes. That yes might be, oh, well, I'm going to share this one because this was good. Right. Or, right. The yes could be, I'm going to sign up for the newsletter, or I'm going to watch the video, or I'm going to show up for the webinar, or whatever. But we get to, really turn our lives into something that not just inspire, but kind of call our audiences higher and invite them in a closer circle with us.
I'm going to say as well, like the idea of documenting your journey as a business owner, right? Whether maybe you're not a creative, maybe you're as a small business owner, that isn't your strong suit, right? But I think that looking at it in terms of like a documentary about your journey as a small business owner can make your content strategy easier for you.
Yes.
So it's just, think about what you do every day. So you start it with your cup of coffee or your cup of tea or your walk. Document that and share it, right? What's your next thing you do? You get ready for the day. Do I wear the business suit? Or, we had this conversation, right? What are we're wearing real clothes today?
Yes.
Today, right? That.
Yeah.
It's a real clothes day, not a yoga pants day, right?
Right.
That's content right there. Are you a real clothes day or a yoga pants day? Having a yoga pants day, right?
And you know what's a hot video right now is ASMR. And I did a coffee ASMR on my Instagram yesterday. I was like, here's my coffee and ASMR for your Monday. Like, that's it. It was just me literally opening it, taking my pot out, because we're like, yeah, that's my morning. Like you said, that's genius. That also needs to be on a t-shirt. Monique, we've been talking with all our past guests that there are these like t-shirt lines that we need to be bringing out. Like, say, this is our guest. This is it, right? Like, document your journey is creating your content.
Well, I just think that concept simplifies it so well for people that are struggling with I've already said that. What do I say now? Right. And it's not about, it's not always about, it doesn't always have to be about your specific service or product. It can be about your business in general. It can be about the chair you're sitting in. It can be about, the earrings you're wearing that you purchased from another small business owner. It can be, what I'm saying? Like, it can really be about anything, but it still pertains back to who you are, how you run your business, and creates that trusted resource status for you as someone who walks the walk, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
I love that.
This is why Monique's title is Master Strategist, because she looks at all the different points of how to help her client create that content. So man, that's the best tip. I don't know what I thought, but I did not, in my head, like, yes, that, but like you put it into a like solid word sentence for me, which I'm going to say for a long time now. And then,
I'm just going to throw this, I'm going to throw this out there too. If you're not in a creative industry, if your industry is not on that creative side of things, you could be really a trailblazer for what kind of content is being put out for your industry group. Right? If you start to think outside of the box, like what Monique is talking about, if you start to think of your journey as a business owner in that documentary style, as opposed to, I must write about this, I must write about that, I must write, like, I really feel like, you could really make waves. You could become that next big viral thing in your industry if you just think outside the box just a tiny little bit. So,
Monique, you got Anna very excited here.
I am. I have some clients, right, that are not traditional creative clients, and I'm thinking, how do I convince them that this, because they want that very traditional. They've always done it this way. So can you create content like this for me? And I'm feeling inspired now to say, can I tweak things up just a little bit and let's see where it might take us? Just a little bit. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Really quick example, Anna, when you were saying that, there's a person that came to mind who I follow, because I love his content, and he's a funeral director.
Yes, there's a lady.
He's a funeral director.
Yes,
and when you were talking, literally the last post that I think I probably saw a week ago popped up into my mind. He talks a lot about how the work impacts him. So, normally when we talk about content, people always think, well, I mean, I sell this, so
Right.
I have to talk about this all the time. And especially in that type of industry where it's a very tender and sensitive space, and there are probably ethical guidelines where they can't share specific information about the families that they're helping and the people who they're taking care of. And so he talks a lot. He shares the work through his eyes. And I actually think the brand is through the eyes of a funeral director or something like that.
Yeah.
So he talks about how doing his work impacts him and what he takes away, or what the family said about the most recent person whose case they handled and how it changed him.
Yeah.
That is content, and it's very creative, it's very human, which makes it so sticky. It's so sticky because it's real, it's authentic, people get it. And then for me, because the strategy hat never goes off, I'm like, oh my God, this is what he's doing. And so I get excited about it. But it's so like, again, that's what we get to do. And that's what I feel like this time that we're in right now, it demands that of us. If we as business owners want to transform people's lives through the things that we sell and make the impacts, there is a demand on us, and we are challenged to really call up those things that maybe we've been telling ourselves, well, I can't do that for whatever reason, or I don't do that. If the goal is the goal, and we want to achieve the goal, then that's where the strategy comes in. What is the method that we're going to implement to get to the goal? Because the goal still matters.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yes. I actually do. I follow another funeral home. They're based out of Atlanta. And this woman that runs it is like, I've learned just so much about different types of funeral services that other cultures have. And I mean, I'm Hawaiian. There's a lot of things we do back home in Hawaii. I mean, not that it's different, but there's things, right? But like you said, what was, and like you, my brain goes, oh, I know what they're doing. And you're excited that they get to share their message about their business in a way that most people don't think. Like, what is a funeral home? Why would you have that on? Yeah, because they're still a business and normalizing certain conversations, right? I mean, all the things. So, Monique, yes. Gosh, we're only in question 2. And it's like,
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate what you just said, that this time frame, and I stuck it in a ticker, and I didn't get your exact words, so I'm just paraphrasing here. But this time frame as business owners demands that we make things real and authentic, right? Like that's kind of what you were saying. And I hope that everyone who's listening right now hears that, in the sense that, it doesn't mean you have to share your every inner heartbreaking moment or joy or personal, intensely personal things. It just means that you have to be who you are as a business owner. Document. It's a documentary about you as a business owner, right?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Okay. Our third question for you, third and final question. Okay. What is your top content strategy to position your product or service for sale?
Gosh, I feel like we said it, but let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's another one of those. Okay. So
buckle up, people. She said, okay. Like it's.
So the first thing is recognizing that positioning a product or service for sale doesn't happen in one post. It is a process. And so provided we have that understanding that it's a process, the way to do that is to use your content to nurture a relationship. The same way we date people, that we are interested in having relationships with, we get to use our content to woo and court. That was the old school word. The people that we want to buy, because one, we recognize that it's not going to happen like that, and two, because there are so many options out there, we want we want to allow them to see that we are the one. We want them, when we offer the roles, they say yes. So we use our content to answer the questions that they're having throughout the journey of getting to the sale. We're not showing up immediately with the, hey, I got this. You should buy it. Because we recognize that they have all kinds of questions and all kinds of things going on in their lives and their minds and their hearts that are preventing them from saying yes. So if we want them to say yes, we get to use our content to address all of those things, to get those things out of the way so they could say yes. So I like to treat it, it's a relationship, it's a journey. The marketing rule of 7, now I'm gonna get nerdy really quick. So the marketing rule of 7 dictates that it takes on average 7 interactions with our stuff, with our marketing, before a consumer will make a decision. So it could take 7 interactions and the decision is, no, that's not for me. It could take 12 interactions and they say, this is absolutely for me. Send me the link. Tell me where I sign up. Over the course of those interactions, it can't only be buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this. It has to be about what they're experiencing internally, what they're grappling with, how their priorities are shifting, what's happening in their lives, because we know that it's important that they say yes, not because it means they're going to give us money, but because we believe in the strength of what we're offering and we know it's going to help them in a very significant way. So then we have to be considerate of what they're going through and the steps that they're taking. And we use our content to do that.
That is fantastic. That's absolutely that's absolutely the right answer, right? It cannot just be a constant buy this for me, buy this for me, buy this for me. It cannot be a constant same message over and over. Because if you aren't recognizing think about how you as a buyer make decisions about things, right? Like I am a traditional walk through Target, load up my cart, then I stop at some point and I say, don't need this, don't need that. And I start to put things back, right? Because my initial thought is I want these things. I don't necessarily need them. And then I rethink as I'm going through, this is the way my brain works. I know this. So if somebody comes at me and says, you have to buy this right now or else, I walk away, right? That's my buying. That's my buyer mindset. Another person might feel very inclined, like, if you don't buy this right now, it's gone. I got to have it, right? And that's their buying mindset. And so you really have to think about your ideal client and what that process might look for them, so that you are hitting all those different strategy moments, all those different experience moments is, I think, what you were calling them. Experience
for sure.
The buyer is having when they are interacting with you, right?
Yeah. I'm going to take the word that you said, Monique, which is court, right? Like you are courting that user. Like, so it's just like, if I'm going to be marrying somebody, if he comes in on the first time, marry me, I'm like, whoa, I just met you today, right? Like, we're going to have 7 dates before you should ask me that question, because I'm going to have 7 experiences with you that I'm like, I dig you. I will marry you, right? And that's the courting, right? Courting, nurturing, whatever the word is. But when you said court, I was like, oh man, that is exactly like, sometimes people can understand it in that way, right? Like you need a little of that courting process to get to that conversion, right? So I like that. And this
goes back to, right? I do too. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, that right now, because of the internet and virtual capabilities of businesses, there are thousands of more choices than there used to be for every buyer out there.
Yeah.
And so if your content strategy is not taking into consideration the fact that there are maybe 2,000 other businesses that are doing a nurturing pattern.
Yes.
Right. And then you're the one that's buy. And you're wondering why you might not be seeing the sales quota that you're hoping to get,
Yeah.
it's definitely time to look at what that strategy you've created is.
Yeah. Or you go and here's my ASMR for the show. You go hire Moniek. She will help you.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all.
I mean, that totally leads us to, right, like the connect thing, which is next on our list, right? Is how do you find, if you aren't good at this, it's time to look to an expert like Moniek.
Yeah. So
who clearly is good at this. I mean, we just had a 40-minute conversation about how good she is at this.
Yeah.
Has it been 40 minutes? Oh my gosh.
I know. I know.
We're 35. I know. We're okay.
This is why we add an ish to our 15. It is never 15, not even close, but it's so easy, right?
A strategic place ish is a lifesaver.
I know. I think we're going to change the title to that. I'm like, look, I like what Monique's suggestion is. So, man, okay, Moniek, before we move on to our toolkit, is there a last thing about this particular question you want to leave us on? Or, one last thing?
I think one thing, when we talk about strategy and strategy feeds the marketing, it's so important. I touched on this a second ago, is to have a goal in mind. You all asked the question at the top, what is the strategy?
Yeah.
It's impossible to know or to even figure out what the strategy is if there is no goal.
Yeah.
So we have to have the goal. And I understand it. I get it. We want to fast forward. Like, we can talk about goals later, but wait.
Yeah.
When you know that the goal is at the top of the pyramid, and then comes the strategy, and then comes the plan, and then that's all of the stuff that you create that gets published.
Yeah.
It's simply not possible to do it with any level of clarity without having a goal in place. So I would challenge all of us, set a goal. I'm not even saying it has to be a smart goal, just a goal. What do you want to do? How many of those things do you want to sell? How many people do you want to get on your email list this month? What do you want to get? What do you want to have happen? And then from that, build everything else.
I love that. Yeah. Set an anchor to keep you on track, right? Oh, yes. So good, Moniek. So good. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If we ask you more questions, this will be a 5-hour show. I just know it. So
I know. And I will keep talking. So I can talk this all day long. I love it. So I appreciate it.
That's a great action item you just left all of our listeners with, right?
Yeah.
Like, go set yourself a goal. What is it that from this conversation, what did you hear that you need to improve on? Set yourself a goal.
Yeah.
And then come back and tell us about it, because we want to hear. We want to know what it was and like what your plan is. I know for me, video. Right now, I'm in my head. I'm like, I don't do nearly enough video.
No, you know what? It's all I've been doing on Instagram right now, Moniek. And I clearly can see with the insights that we get from Instagram, right? How the impact of just doing those reels have made versus my static posts. And I was like, okay, so at least the energy I'm putting into it is seeing some kind of growth potential in it, right? So, man, okay. So, okay, shh, because we can keep talking and we can't do that. So we're gonna move on to our toolkit. And usually this is something we love to provide from our guests or shared from our guests. And so we were consuming Moniek's website and we stumbled upon a blog post that she had written about Beat Content Marketing Imposter Syndrome. And it was like, oh, this is it. Anna and I were like, because everybody can relate. So Moniek, can you just share just a little bit about why did you write it? And you said a word earlier in backstage, right? It's evergreen. This is something that will not go away. So I'll let you kind of just share just a tidbit, because we want people to kind of head over and read and watch the video.
So I think we had talked about this. Anna had mentioned this, where, we all know of creators at some point or another. We were that person who avoided doing the thing. We talked about the video and really afraid to get on video. I think that speaks to the imposter syndromes that can sometimes exist within us and cause us to do things in the opposite direction of what we want to achieve for our businesses. And so I wanted to talk about it. I wanted the people who were struggling to create consistently, be consistent, do the things, try the new channels. I wanted them, one, to know that there was nothing wrong with them. They're not broken. Everybody deals with this, and it can be overcome.
Yeah.
And so that article, it started out as a live broadcast that I did, and the article kind of took shape after the live broadcast. But I wanted them, again, to know that there are tools, there are resources, there is a way that they could approach the fear and turn it into something that can work for them, as opposed to something that's been keeping them stuck.
Yeah. I mean, guys, Anna's going to drop the link into our comments, either on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, that you can head over to our blog. So you can, one, see all of the episode notes with Moniek and the link to her blog, so that you can read and watch this. I mean, I think this could still be relevant in 20 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Right, Maria? Preach
Yes.
it. Yes, absolutely. So, thank you, Moniek. Thank you for just creating content right there. And she just did something important, you guys. This is content that was created a little bit ago, but it's still relevant, because guess what? Me and Anna went on her website, and we were just poking around, and that resonated with us. So
it really did. And I think it's something that resonates with a lot of small business owners.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
When you are a small business owner, feeling that imposter syndrome can be paralyzing.
Yeah.
So take a peek at her blog, and we're going to encourage you to reach out to Moniek with questions, right?
Yeah. So speaking of that,
questions.
Yes.
I love questions.
So, speaking of that, Moniek, tell everybody where you want them to find you, to do the questions, all the things.
So you all have my social channels up there right now. That we're at the time that we're doing this, I'm getting back into Instagram. I kind of took a break on Instagram a little bit, because I took a break from public marketing, just because my family was in transition. Again, real life, this is what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting back into Instagram, but I'm also experimenting on TikTok right now. And I didn't give you all the link. Like, that's what I'm. So really quick little lesson. So one of the things I'm doing right now is experimenting with TikTok, one, to get myself comfortable with the platform, and just to explore and figure out what it does. But that also, I'm also using TikTok in the short form content, kind of as a lab for future long-term content. Long form. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm experimenting there. I'm on there at the Moniek James. You all can find me there, because that's where I'm having fun.
Awesome. Well, we will make sure to, like I said, we had mentioned earlier, we're going to have our show notes. So we will put Moniek's TikTok links in there too. So that way, in case you're like, I forgot, just head to our website and find Moniek's blog article that we have up, and you'll see her links. And I'm excited to see what you do. I'm on TikTok, but I'm an observer and not a creator.
That's where I throw things out there every once in a while, and it's super random, and there's zero strategy behind it. Zero. I'm just going to say that right now. It's like whatever I feel like that day, it goes up.
But sometimes that's how you find, like, for me, that's kind of how you find your sea legs on the thing, right? It's like, okay, let me throw this out there and see what it does.
And it really is a lot
about, with no pressure.
Yes.
And for me right now, it is about learning that platform, and like, what do I want to do on that platform, right? Like, I know that I like to watch, but sometimes I'm like, there's no way I don't have the time to create like that person.
I know. I mean, real story, I create content for a lot of my clients. I'm beat by the time it comes to mine. I'm like, I mean, that's a story for another day, right, Moniek? Like let's not just that could be a whole nother show that I know we can invite a lot of whole different conversation. So you guys go find Moniek. She's gonna be on the platforms, and we're gonna find her on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, so our we always like to do a little, a tip jar for everyone about finances, which is not always the strength of a small business owner. So from Joanna Linares, a bookkeeping professional at Inumorista, Joanna tells us that bookkeeping is keeping track of all of your business financial transactions. You may not need fancy software to do this, especially if you are just getting started out. So using a spreadsheet is fine for some as long as you upgrade when and as necessary. But the key is to track each and every transaction. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're like, I got to get this fancy software to be able to handle it. No, you don't. What Joanna says, the key is to track each and every transaction, stick it in a spreadsheet, or hire a bookkeeping professional for your business if that's really something you just find you do not have time for. So thank you, Joanna, for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we're at the end.
We are at the end of our show. Yeah. So just jumping right in. Next week, we have Heather Campbell from Glory Nutrition that's going to join us. Heather has been campaigning for food insecurity. And so we're going to be talking to her about advocacy and how sometimes your small business can be an advocate for big conversations. And if that's something that you're passionate about, how you can get involved with things like that, just based on what you love to do as a small business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, you can always find us at annaandselena.com. We love to be on LinkedIn or on Facebook, Instagram, or go to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to the 15-ish minute coffee chat, or jump on YouTube if that's how you like to join us, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're so grateful for those who come and listen and join in on the conversation. Thank you so much for being here today. And Monique, thank you for being here today.
Yes.
It's been so much
Thank
fun.
y'all for having me. Yeah, this was really fun.
We're doing this again. Hopefully you say yes, right?
Yes, I'm already, put me down for a yes.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Because I want more of those. Okay, like that, I want more of those, you know?
Right?
So
I know this movement now for me is going to be like, oh, she's got something to say.
That is a lean in.
Like, okay. It's like, okay, so yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Monique.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.